ladies and gentlemen, to the newest and best episode of M-Class Podcast.
It's the best one we've ever done so far.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Josh.
And on this program, we sat down with a piece of Star Trek media, usually an episode of the show, and we pick that bitch apart from beginning to end in order to let you know whether it's a pitch it or a ditch it.
No, that's different. You're getting the shows confused again.
Fuck you, Boston Sean.
Damn. Wow, we're like 48 seconds into this thing. And you're just fuck you and people. It's
I'm
crazy.
kidding. Boston Sean's a great guy. Anyway, on this episode of M-Class, we're going to be talking about the Voyager episode Counterpoint, which I'm going to go ahead and say up front, it's a pretty good episode. You don't have to turn this one off.
Yeah, I watched it twice because I watched this last time.
He could have just not told you guys that and got away with it.
So, I saw it twice. Well, like, really, like, 1.5 times. I was doing other things. But, yeah, this is a good episode, and it fits with the theme of the last episode we did, too.
Yeah, it fits with, of course, this is the Beuhler Defection collection.
Yeah.
So they all fit into that.
Right, they fit with the Beuhler theme, but they also fit with this, like, Holocausty...
That is true.
Nazi theme we
the
got
accidental Nazi collection.
That's how it happens.
It is always an accident to begin with. This is Season 5, Episode 10 of Voyager. It came out December 16th, 1998, which is wild, since this episode is probably going to come out not on the 16th, but near it.
No, it'll come out, wait, what day is that? That's a Sunday, so
no, it will be out on the 19th, so it'll be near it.
Well, I might edit it on the 16th. That might happen.
Hey!
No, I don't do work on Sunday.
Because it's
like
the
Lord's Day.
Just like God. This episode was directed by Les Landau, who is the fucking workhorse of the Star Trek series.
I was looking at his credits. He's directed literally everything.
He's directed 58 episodes of Star Trek.
Yeah.
34 TNG, 14 DS9, 9 Voyager, and 1 Enterprise.
1 Enterprise. And the Enterprise episode's pretty good. I looked it up which one it was, and it's a pretty good one. I wouldn't mind doing that one for a possible, like, a Klingons thing we do or something.
That'd be good.
I had an idea. This is some, like, sausage making here.
Sure, show them how they make it.
I had an idea for, like, a theme for some episodes, like a kind of like a Lost at Sea theme, where, like, they're either, like, trapped in, like, nebulas or, like, they're kind of, like floating through space type of deal. There's a couple episodes we could do like that.
We could put that on the list for people to vote on if they'd like to.
Put it on the list. If you're the Patreons, you can vote on it.
Only patrons.
Yeah.
Les Landau also directed a ton of episodes of Beverly Hills 90210, Sequest, Lois and Clark, Mantis, Sliders, Jag, and Dark Angel.
He's directed some episodes of the TV series Weird Science.
He also co-produced T.J. Hooker.
He directed an episode of Mantis.
What a fucking legend Les Landau is.
This guy is everywhere.
It was written by Michael Taylor, who wrote The Visitor and In the Pale Moonlight from Deep Space Nine.
Oh my god, that's why it's so good.
Yeah. He also wrote Things Past and Resurrection, and he went on to work on Battlestar Galactica's third season, a show I have never heard of.
That's weird. It's almost like he's very good at what he does. That's weird.
It is strange. I've never heard of this Battlestar Galactica thing, though.
I mean, you're only hurting yourself, Jeff.
It seems like I'm hurting you more than me, somehow.
Well, everything hurts me. I'm a redhead.
Oh.
I can't even go outside without it hurting me, so...
The world itself harms you.
That's the story of me.
Jesus. Anyway, this is a part of the Defection collection, so why don't we go ahead and jump right into the storyline here.
I'm gonna put a sound effect, but I don't want to have to edit it in. So that's me diving into a pool.
That's the scene changing. So Voyager is passing through a section of space that's controlled by the Devore Empire.
The Devore. They sound French.
It does sound a little French.
The Devore Empire.
But there is like a warship coming up on our little tiny Voyager. Like the warship dwarfs it. It's so fucking big.
Yeah, one of the things I like about Voyager is that the ship itself is vulnerable a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's like a little baby ship.
Yeah, it's not like the Enterprise, which is like majestic and like powerful. It's just sort of like little and.
It is a lot bigger than the ship from Deep Space Nine, though. The Defiant.
Yeah, but that ship's like quick and like warlike, right?
Yeah, the Defiant is like heavily armed and shielded, so
yeah, it's like a fighter jet.
But in the Devore Empire, telepathy is illegal. Telepaths are sent to quote-unquote relocation centers.
That sounds a lot like a concentration camp to me.
We don't call them that in America. We call them relocation centers.
We call them let's put children in them.
We call them baby cages.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. I love it.
I hate the world we live in.
It's so fun.
But Voyager is completely outgunned for maybe like it happens a few times throughout Voyager, but
yeah.
It's weird though because like the whole idea of the Delta Quadrant to begin with was like it was a nowhere quadrant that was ruled by a bunch of like space bandits that had broccoli hair.
Well, I like that the Delta Quadrant is like lawless because like the Borg have like fucked everything up, right? Like so like the Borg sort of like made the power dynamic in the Delta Quadrant useless. Like so everyone's Mad Max as fuck.
Except the Devore Empire, apparently.
Yeah, they're doing all right. I guess the Hirogen are kind of scary, too. Like, they're a little powerful.
They're a little out of place in the Delta Quadrant, but it is good to have an enemy that the Voyager's, like, completely outclassed by, that they have no choice but to follow their roles.
Right. It's an interesting, and I think a good setup for the show, and I wish that, like, you can't do this all the time in Voyager, and this is the big problem with Voyager is how do you write the show so that you're doing interesting Star Trek things while achieving the main goal of getting the crew home.
Mm-hmm.
And like this works well, but you can't do it all the time. So I guess my point is I don't know why Voyager is a show.
It was like it must have sounded like a great idea to begin with. Is the thing. It's one of those ideas that you're like all on board with, like, fuck yeah, that's a great idea.
This is great.
And then when you start doing it, you're like, fuck, I don't know where I'm gonna go with this. I have no idea.
How are we gonna make this interesting, right? Every week. How are we gonna do it?
The Devore warships like board Voyager and they're searching the entire ship and you don't really know what to begin with. Until the lead inspector of the Devore, Kashuk,
which is the planet that the Wookiees live on.
And not Kashuk, Kashuk.
Some people pronounce it Kashuk.
He shows up and he's like, he starts playing classical music.
It's awesome!
And he's like, hopefully this will help you relax. I love your planet's music, so...
Yeah.
But he tells Janeway and the audience by proxy that telepathy is illegal, telepaths need to be rounded up and sent to detention centers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they're not welcome here.
No.
In the Devore Empire.
There's a massive amount of prejudice against telepaths. And as we know, as audience members, there are at least 2 Vulcans on board and some Betazoids. The number changes.
Yeah, they mentioned Suitor, which is the serial killer.
Yeah.
A guy who played Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Really good actor.
He's great, yeah. He's dead, though, right? Because he dies in that episode, I believe.
Yeah, he does.
So they mention him, and she says...
Spoilers for Voyager, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. But the guy goes through like the list. Kashuk is like, well, I see here you had a number of telepaths. Like you assume that this is not the first inspection because in the beginning they're like, here we go again. Sort of,
she's like, we know the drill. Just come on over.
Yeah.
Prax is like, I'm gonna fucking listen when I talk.
But he lists off like Tuvok, and she like lies and says Tuvok is dead. But like as a viewer, you're like, well, maybe he is dead. I don't know. You know,
he was in the last episode.
What happened to Tuvok?
If Tuvok's dead, what am I watching the show for?
I'm out, and that's when you turn the show off. See you next week, everybody.
Honestly, if I was watching this on TV, like if I was watching along Voyager for some reason, and I didn't know what happens after this episode at all. And she was like, Tuvok died in a shuttle explosion, and the music swelled up. Yeah. I would have been like, what? That's the only reason I'm watching this!
Yeah. I know.
But that is not the fight. He's alive, everybody. Don't worry.
He's alive as much as any Vulcan can be.
Damn!
Suck it, T-Pon.
What a fucking spacist.
Fucking green-blooded hobgoblins.
Jesus.
You know what? I think we should put Vulcans in camps.
Anyway, they search through the ship to find any telepaths, and the crew is like real pissed off about it, especially B'Elanna, because fucking Prax is like, you're doing shit wrong. Do it right, you dumb bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, so like there's like some vibration or something in like the warp power core or some shit, and he's like, this is where the problem is. And she's like, I'll keep that in mind. Great, thank you. But I think like she knows that it's because they're like hiding them, right? Yeah.
And 7 of 9 is in this episode. She has 2 lines.
Which is unbelievable. Look, here's the thing. Like, I love Jerry Ryan, and 7 of 9 is a pretty okay character for the most part. But this episode is great because she is not in the show at all.
Damn, I thought people loved her.
Like, she's good, but man, did they... In the last... This is season 5. The last 2-3 seasons of this show, man, are like the 7 of 9 show. It's like the baby Oliver, right?
She absolutely is the cousin Oliver of the show.
The cousin Oliver, sorry.
Like... The show was waning in ratings, and they knew if they put a blonde in a cat suit on the show that it was going to get some more ratings. And it did.
Yeah, it worked. Jerry Ryan.
But,
try having 2 first names as your name, you stupid.
She already did.
Am I right?
Put your hand down. I'm not going to high-five you.
Hit it.
Stop it!
Okay.
And so Janeway and Kashuk are talking, and Kashuk is like, I'm so interested in your human culture.
He loves coffee.
And he's like, you know, you have soldiers and artists and science and faith. You're a bunch of fucking weirdos. What's up?
Yeah, you cover the spectrum, right? There's not everyone's homogenous.
This is a hint about his nature, by the way, if you're following along at home.
Everyone's probably very conformed where he comes from.
But, you know, he points out the crew manifest that there are at least 4 telepaths who used to be on board.
Mm-hmm.
And Janeway's like, oh, they all died in the shuttle accident. And Kashuk's like, well, that's pretty fucking convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, it is.
Yeah. She could have played it like she killed them, right? Like, she knew that they were coming here and she needed to get rid of them. That would have been
smarter, honestly.
Yeah. He would have respected that more. It's very fascist.
But he's like, look, I gotta tell you, these tellies, these gross fucking disgusting tellies.
Wow, now who's a spacist?
It's his word. He used that word, not me.
I didn't say anything that disgusting on the show.
Okay, he said the T word. He said those filthy T words.
Yeah, wow. Well, you added filthy in front of it, so it's bad again.
He said they're dangerous. They're gonna destroy our society.
Yeah.
And before Janeway can even respond, Big Bad Prax comes back and he's like, we didn't find any telepaths, but they went off course when we told them not to, so let's fucking impound their ship.
Yep, that's his, like, number 1.
And Kashuk's like, no, I think I'm going to allow it.
I'm going to allow it. Judge Reinhold.
I love that line so much. I'm going to allow it. And she's like, we were just avoiding ion storms. And he's like, okay, I'll definitely just allow you to go free.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And he's like, but remember, Captain, when I did you a favor, I was your friend, and you could certainly use a friend like me.
Yeah, is he like hitting on her? Kinda, right? Like
Kinda.
creepy. He's being kind of a creepy.
He's a little creeper.
Yeah, at this point.
However, we learn after the Devore leave, that they're not only keeping their own telepathic members hidden, but they have 12 refugees from a telepathic planet that's been subjugated by the
Devore
Empire.
So the leader guy, his name's Kerr, right?
I think so.
He's played by Randy Oglesby, who is in every goddamn Star Trek iteration there's ever been. He plays Degra in Enterprise, and Degra's a really cool character that I like.
That's cool.
So he's a really good actor. I like him. So every time he shows up, I'm like, okay, this is already good, because he's good in it.
He's not in this episode too much, honestly.
No, he doesn't do a whole bunch in this, but his voice gets me. I like the way he talks.
He's the leader of the refugees, the telepathic refugees, and they had been hidden in a pattern buffer in a transporter.
Yeah, the old Scotty trick.
Yeah, it didn't turn out so great for Scotty, though.
No, his friend died.
And also, he woke up 100 years later with no friends or family left.
Yeah, but he woke up in the cool Enterprise.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. Why didn't they tell him that Spock was still alive? Or that Bones was still alive?
Is that before... Well, Bones at that point was dead.
Was he?
The guy was dead, yeah.
Well, yeah, but Bones himself was probably still alive.
They probably don't say that Bones was alive, because maybe they didn't want to do that. But Spock's in the Romulans. He's hiding in Romulus, right?
I guess they still could have told him that he's alive, so that he had something to look forward to. Like, he just went out into... He just fucking got in the shuttle and went out into space and drank himself to death.
Fucking what's the whiskey? Aldebaran whiskey. It's green.
Aldebaran whiskey.
Looks like fucking Ecto-Cooler.
Saurian brandy.
Saurian brandy. The Saurians.
But they're transporting these refugees to a ship that's supposed to be nearby them, but like their rendezvous coordinates keep changing.
Right.
However, we also learn that being held in that transporter suspension is like degrading their cells. Like they're degrading.
Yeah, it's killing them.
And it's cumulative. Every time they put them in transporter suspension, it's getting worse. And they have to do it every single time they get to a checkpoint.
There's an episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they use that jump thing, right? Those two armies are fighting each other, and they use that teleporter thing, and it like fucks them up every time they use it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they kidnap the doctor, and she's like, "Stop using it," and they're like, "No, we love it."
She's like, "Stop using it, dumbass," and he's like, "No, I have to kill.
I love murdering with my transporter.
How can I kill without it?
I have to go back to regular killing? Boring.
Fuck that. I need to just appear and kill, Dumbo."
Dumbo. That's mean.
It's hurtful. But if they have to keep using it every time they get to a checkpoint, which is like, they've already done 3 since they entered this area of space.
Yeah, and they don't really know when the checkpoints are, I'm assuming, right? So it's very Anne Frank. I got a Anne Frank feel from this, right? Like you're hiding in the attic.
Yeah,
right?
That could be true. It's definitely like a World War II, like you're hiding Jewish people.
It's
upstairs.
The hiding of the Jews, yes. Which I love that. I love that stories like that because it's so terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the not often focused on like these people who were safe from the Nazis at that time, who put their lives on the line to try to protect Jewish people from them.
Right. It makes sense for the Federation, right? Like the Federation's always gonna do that. Like that's their guiding light, is that they're...
Although this is later it's pointed out in the episode that this is a direct violation of the Prime Directive.
Absolutely.
Because they're a pre-warp civilization.
I don't want to, like, get ahead, but I want to make a point before I forget, because I'm stupid. This episode is Janeway at her most, like, Kirk-like. Like...
That's true.
She's fucking incredible in this episode.
I don't know if Kirk would have picked up the refugees.
Well, that's why he would have been a terrible asshole.
Well, Picard wouldn't have picked them up either.
He would have not wanted to, but I think he would have been like, "Oh, we must do what's right." Like he would have figured it out.
Well,
right?
Kirk would have done that too. Then honestly,
yeah, they all would have done it.
There would have been that time period where we got to see them wrestle with the implications,
right? And we're just jumping into this episode ahead of that, right? Like that's
which is a
already
little unfortunate because it would have been great to see Janeway sort of wrestling with, like, is this the right thing to do or isn't it?
Right? Is this going to endanger my crew? Is this like because her main goal is to get home, and anything that gets in the way of that is a problem, right? Yeah. Like that's very problematic.
The question with pre-warp civilizations become: are we playing God or not?
Right.
Like, are we like taking control of this society by doing this?
Right.
And I don't think that's true of these refugees, though, because they're already under the boot heel of a warp civilization.
Part of it too is like the natural way of the universe is like the Great Barrier, right? Like,
yeah,
some don't make it, right? And like, does the Federation involve itself in deciding that? No, they shouldn't.
No.
But...
And I mean, that's what you're doing at certain points.
Right.
And it's hard to see whether that's what you're doing or not. And like I said, with the refugees, they're already being controlled by a warp civilization. So it's like...
It's already interfered, yeah.
It's like 6 to 1, half a dozen of another, you know? It's the same exact shit either way. At least this way they get to live.
Right.
And since we need to live, let's take a break and hear from our first sponsor of the evening. We'll be right back after these messages.
When Ben Matlock questions a witness, he stands up, asks the tough questions.
Did you call them the night of the murder?
The witness smiles. Ben nods.
Well, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
That's all there is to it. Case closed. Matlock's a winner. Tuesdays this fall on NBC.
And we're back with more M-Class Podcast.
Thank God we're back. I didn't think we were going to come back.
Wouldn't that have been fucked up if after that advertisement there was just an hour and a half of dead air?
Not like we ever did that to anyone before.
And we never will again.
Definitely not.
Anyway, when we last left our heroes, the rendezvous coordinates to drop off all those refugees has changed, and it's 2 days away in a nebula.
I would be very suspicious of this constantly changing rendezvous, like the moving of the goalposts, right? Like I'd be like, this is a terrible idea.
There's so much like subterfuge going on in this episode that like we as an audience are privy to already that it's like, that already sounds kind of weird. But
anytime anyone does that to you in real life, it's a super red flag.
For sure.
Super fucking red flag.
For sure. If they're like, well, I can't meet at Chuck E. Cheese today. Please meet me in this alley full of AIDS needles. Watch
AIDS
out.
Alley. Oh, I know AIDS Alley. Yeah, sure. I know where that is.
You better watch your step with that deal, mister.
It sounds like trouble.
However, unfortunately, Neelix is also in this episode.
Oh, he's telling the kids a story.
He's telling the kids a story, but one of the kids...
That's what Neelix does now. That's his job.
His job is babysitting.
Babysit children.
He's telling them a story, and one of the kids reveals that he's a telepath, I guess? Like, it shows you he's a telepath?
Because he's like knows the story, right? He's like, oh, it's in a meta, right? Like he knows like what's.
And Neelix is like, it's not nice to read someone's mind when they're trying to tell you a story. And the kid's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Neelix, golly gee.
Yeah, then Neelix is like, it's okay. I'm a super understanding weird alien.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the weirdest fucking alien you've ever seen or anything. Let's be friends.
That's pretty rough.
Fuck that guy.
Jeff.
Anyway.
Fuck that guy.
Janeway and
I'm
Neelix.
gonna send you the gif right now of him dancing.
I'm not gonna look at it, so I'm happy.
Okay, well, I'm sending it to you.
Neelix is like, Captain Janeway, you did the right thing by saving those refugees, but the kids are real sad.
Yeah, they're not handling this so well.
And Janeway has a snack.
Janeway has a snack. What did she eat? I don't remember this.
I don't remember exactly what she eats either, but she has a snack. And a Devore vessel shows up, and they're like, oh my god, another inspection!
Here we go again!
That's what they say, and it goes, wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
But he actually texted me the fucking gif of Neelix dancing.
I told you I was going to do it.
I thought you were going to send it through me through the thing we're in right now, the conversation we're having.
No, I texted it because it's on my phone and that's how I do it.
What a fucking monster.
It's so great. It's the best gif.
I hate that gif. The best gif is Spock slowly turning away in disgust in his chair.
Tied with the kitty cat speaking out of from behind the bed.
The kitty cat doing the exact same motion as Spock, pretty much.
The look on the cat's face is like a person. It's great. I love it.
Anyway, a Devore vessel shows up, and they get all of the telepaths into the transporter again. But it turns out it's not a warship. It's just a little tiny ship.
Like a shuttle. Yeah.
And there's only one guy in it, and it turns out to be Kashuk.
Oh, this fucking guy. What's the name of this episode again?
Counterpoint.
What's the name of our episode, the collection? Sorry.
Oh, it's the Defection collection, the Ben Beuhler Defection collection.
It's this guy's defection collectioning at this point. But you don't really know that yet.
No, you don't know that just yet.
Not right. Yeah.
This guy is literally in fucking everything. He's like a super TV actor. He's
this dude is, he's everywhere. I don't know what his name is. Let me try to find it here.
His name is Mark Herlick.
Herlick. What has he been in?
Fucking everything, dude.
Holy shit. He was in Jurassic Park 3. I think we all remember that.
Everybody's favorite movie, Jurassic Park.
He's in 42, the Jackie Robinson.
He was in 6 Feet Under. He was in Desperate Housewives.
Man,
he was in Boy Meets World.
That's where I know him from.
He was a recurring character on Boy Meets World.
Was he a dad or something?
No, I don't. Jedediah Lawrence? What?
Oh yeah. Is that Joey Lawrence or not Joey? The brother.
Joey Lawrence.
The brother Lawrence to Joey Lawrence.
Oh, it's Topanga's dad. He played Topanga's dad.
He was Topanga's dad. So you know the redhead in that show, right?
Yeah, the
later years.
She's the college roommate. Yeah, she's
Maitland Ward is her name. She is a porn star now.
I didn't know she was a straight up porn star. I knew she was like one of those.
She's a straight up porn star.
She was one of those like Instagram nude models.
She was that for a while, and now she's just straight porn. Lots of porn.
I mean, whatever makes her happy.
She's very beautiful.
She is very beautiful. Interestingly enough, Topanga's dad was played by 3 different actors throughout the series.
Topanga.
Peter Tork was first and Michael Herlick was last. However, Michael McKean was in the middle. Yeah.
Peter Tork from the Monkees?
Yes.
That's a fun fact of the week, I think.
That is a John Larroquette fun fact of the week. Peter Tork from the Monkees was Topanga's dad.
John Larroquette, though, not Topanga's dad, weirdly.
As far as we know, not Topanga's dad. That makes sense why the monkeys show up in a late episode of Boy Meets World.
I honestly, I don't remember that much about Boy Meets World. I watched it a lot, but...
What? How could you not know everything?
That show, like, washes over me. Like, it would be on, and I would be like, okay, whatever.
Like, I liked Boy Meets World a lot, but I love Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, I know you really love.
Like,
I never got into
Saved by the Bell is awful. It is a god-awful television show, but I love it. I don't know why.
That Zach Morris's trash YouTube shit is really great.
Zach Morris is the worst human being that's ever lived.
He's such a fuck. He's such a white fuck.
I always say that, like, there was a time period in the 90s where teenage girls had to choose who their heartthrob was. A beautiful Hispanic man with muscles everywhere and dimples that go on for days, or a literal sociopath. And some girls just couldn't choose.
That's fucking the realest shit, dude. That's the realest fucking shit I've ever heard. Holy shit. It was too tough. It was too tough for some girls. Oh no, they're probably racist.
It could be. It could be.
They're probably racist.
Kashuk shows up and he's not wearing a uniform anymore. He's wearing the standard, like, Star Trek The Next Generation, I'm in regular clothes outfits.
He's cashed up.
Which is like gray and beige jumpsuits with low necks.
God, earth tones, right? Everything's earth tones.
And he's like, look, Janeway, I know about your fucking telly refugees. I know you're headed to the wormhole to transport them for their escape, but for some reason not use the wormhole yourself.
Yeah, I guess. So, I guess they're not using the wormhole because, like,
maybe it puts them out in the other direction.
Yeah, maybe it goes the other way, or maybe it's just like not on their agenda because, like, their main focus is to get the refugees there first, right? Like, it's sort of self-sacrificing, maybe. But they don't really explain that.
Kashuk does tell us, the audience, that the entire nebula is just a Devore trap. Like, they set it up specifically so that they could capture refugees from this planet.
Yeah, it's a entrapment, right?
But he's like, I'm a defector. I'm defecting. The Ben Beuhler Defection Collection.
He's got his own song now. That's cool.
And he's like, I request asylum on your ship, and then I'll help you not get caught by Devore ships.
Right.
And I'm the only way you're gonna get out of this space.
Yeah.
And she's like, you fucking bitch. You think I'm really gonna believe your sexy ass?
You're so sexy Topanga dad ass.
I knew I recognized him, and that I do recognize him as Topanga's dad, because I remember him seeming somewhat threatening on the show, even though he wasn't supposed to be.
The way he plays everything is, like, very stern. Like, he's very stern, right?
Yeah. Like, on this one, he's like... He's got, like, a sarcasm to everything he does.
Yeah, he's like sassy boy. He's a real sassy Nazi.
I just... He's not like a Ray Fiennes Nazi. He's a lot more sassy.
No, he's not shooting people on the roof and shit.
He's like a... He's like a, oh my... Hogan's Heroes Nazi.
He's like a PG Nazi, right? He's
the kind of Nazi that Captain America would punch.
In a comic book, not in the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't have a Red Skull.
No. Which, Red Skull is, like, the Guardian of the Stone now?
I don't understand that one at all. Like, I get that he got teleported by the cube or whatever, but, like, why is he a Wraith? What happened?
Yeah, he's a Wraith now. Like, what's up with that? Where's that movie?
I would pay. The thing is, like, they brought a new actor in to play him because Hugo Weaving was like, nah, fuck that.
It's not Hugo Weaving? It sounds like him.
It's a different guy, which proves that they could have just brought a different guy in to play the Red Skull.
Yeah, why does it need to be Red Skull? Just have it not be him,
I like Red Skull as a villain because he's just unabashedly an evil Nazi, which is the greatest type of villain to beat up.
Yeah, they're the best to kill. They're totally okay to kill. They're like better than robots, right? Like in like animated shows where they kill robots because they can't have violence against living things.
Yeah,
but you can kill Nazis. Like you
should be able to. That should be like parent group approved.
Yeah, Saturday morning cartoon approved. Richard Nixon.
Oh, anyway,
Remember that episode of Futurama? That's like where that like so like that's where like the standard for Saturday morning cartoons came from, where like things had to be educational, because Nixon was like, I don't like the way this is going.
Dude,
like he was all.
I was reading something the other day from. Do you know the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon?
Yeah.
I was reading something the other day that one of the people who worked on it just kind of like will tell you whatever about what happened behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
And the number one thing they got from, like, they had their setup of characters, and the guy who's a cavalier who has the shield, like the bitch who's always complaining, the dude.
Yeah.
He was not in their original setup.
Okay.
And the station, which was ABC or NBC, sent them a thing back that says, specifically, you need to have a character who goes against the groupthink and gets proved wrong every episode to prove that the group is always right.
The Simon Belmont of Captain N, like the complaining guy.
Like, you have to have a guy who says that the group's idea is wrong, that they all agree on, and then he's proven wrong and has to join the group again.
Right.
Because groupthink is right.
That's terrifying.
Which is insane to me.
That's speaking of Nazis.
That might explain a lot these days, I think.
Yeah, maybe that's how we got here. I don't know.
But anyway. Janeway agrees to give Kashuk safe passage out of Devore space. And the leader of the refugees that are called the Brenari. That's important.
Names. Bernari sounds like a spaghetti type.
Sounds like delicious spaghetti.
Well, would you like that in elbows or Bernari?
Elbows? That's the fanciest type of pasta. Elbow.
Bow ties, right? They got bow ties. Rotini. They're good.
Rotini!
I like stuffed shells a lot. Oh,
stuffed shells are really fucking good.
Oh, God, I want some right now.
But the leader, Kier, who Josh was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I called him Kerr.
It might be Kerr, actually.
I don't know. Do they say his? I don't know if they say his name. I don't remember.
But Kerr is like, Janeway, I got this scientist for you. He can predict the next appearance of the wormhole. Like, he can do it because he's such a fucking great scientist.
So one of the cool things about this wormhole is that it follows the Star Trek already established that there's only one wormhole that's stable, right?
Yeah.
Because this wormhole is just all over the damn place.
And so they need somebody who can predict where it's going to show up next.
Right.
And like a fish man. He's like a frog man, really, named Torat.
Yeah, he's like a classic Star Trek, like, loner character. They're always weirdos, right?
Yeah, he's
like,
leave me alone, I need to get back to my work.
Yeah, they're like hermits, kind of, like, you know.
And Janeway plays it, like, really smart. She's like, well, here's Professor Kashuk, who thinks you're full of shit, Torat.
Yeah.
And there's a great fucking practical effect moment where Torat's, like, nose, like, blows up like a frog's stomach. And then when he's angry, which I thought was amazing.
It's cool, yeah.
But they're like, look, we will replicate you this illegal substance. Like,
what is it that he wants? I don't remember.
It's like something that powers his ship.
Oh, that's right. And like they give him enough for like a year or something like that.
And he gives them a bunch of data on the wormhole, and he's like so funny because he's like, wormhole is the layman's term.
It's an interspatial flexure, which is like a super Star Trek term, right?
But using his data, not the cool data from the other show, but using the information,
boring numbers data.
Yeah. Janeway and Kashuk, like, are working on how to, like, follow the wormhole around, and Janeway's taking her shirt off, so you know, like, she's wearing only her undershirt, which is the hint to the audience that this is going to be a sexy scene.
She's ready. She's ready to F. That means Janeway's ready to go. Uh-oh, it's that sweet gray, drab gray, almost blue looking tank top.
It's like, whenever Picard is in his PJs, that lets you know a scene is about to be sexy. And whenever Janeway is in that shirt, that lets you know the scene's about to be sexy.
Well, Picard wears that, like, man nighty.
Yeah, sexy as fuck.
It's like that goddamn shortest shorts ever with, like,
pretty much. His, like, ass cheeks are hanging out of him. It says juicy across the back.
It says Captain Juicy across the back.
CPT period juicy.
Juicy.
But they're like working it out and everything, and Janeway's like, well, let me play some music. Let me play some Tchaikovsky for you.
Yeah, music's very important in this episode.
And they realize that through the counterpoint of music,
Right.
in the movements of the music, I don't know music well enough to know exactly what that means.
Yeah,
Josh.
It's sort of like a vague term for like multiple things going on at once. It's more of like for symphonies and shit like that. You know what I mean? But like a lot of times in modern music, it's just rests. Like rock and roll, particularly, will use like rests in a certain way, and that sort of works that way, if that makes sense. What you're not playing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So
But also in a symphony, like there's like 47 things going on.
Oh yeah. And isn't it like in a symphony where like one part of the music will be playing and there'll be like an entirely different part of the music played at the same time, and that's the counterpoint?
Yeah, it's like there's two different like people speaking almost, right? Like actors, or like it works well in that analogy, I think.
Yeah, so they figure out through the music counterpoint that maybe they can find a subspace counterpoint in the harmonics.
Right. Like maybe it's like pinpointing where it would be through subspace, which like I don't know, is like a different sort of dimension, right? That's kind of how subspace works.
So it's like they're thinking there has to be some sort of like an echo when the wormhole opens and closes, like where it appears, and if they can track that echo, they can sort of extrapolate where it's going to be next.
Like triangulate its position, I guess. I don't know. In 4 dimensions.
So they use the computer. They just tell the computer to do it, which I wish I could fucking do.
Which is the best way to do things, honestly. Yeah.
So, but they find that the wormhole is going to appear in the Tahara system.
Sure.
And Janeway and Kashuk are like hot and bothered for each other, right?
They're getting all horny on science. Like, they're, like, talking about science and music, and they're, like, getting all fucking, like, they just want to rub each other's ding-dongs to get together.
Yeah, that's how you make babies, you know.
I don't know.
That's how you do it, I just told you.
I don't know.
But, like, Janeway asked the obvious question that she probably should have asked a little earlier, which is, like, what changed? Like, what would make you turn...
Why are you defecting,
defector,
right?
Yeah. Why would you join this defection collection?
Yeah, he tells this stupid story.
It's a story that makes no particular difference in the narrative, really. I mean, it comes back later, but
it's like real like generic-y kinda. Which
he found a girl who was hiding inside of a tank. And she
not
couldn't
like
breathe.
An army tank, like a tank.
like an actual tank that you store liquids in.
Yeah.
And she couldn't really breathe in there, and when he lifted her out, she thanked him. Right. And he sent her to a relocation center anyway, knowing what would happen to her.
It fucked her up. Yeah, it fucked him up. I mean.
He couldn't think of anything else, so he realized he couldn't fucking do this ever again.
Right. So this story is like super like unconfirmable and like not that like convincing. Of me, the viewer.
I mean, like, even Janeway says before he tells the story, you must have like put thousands of people in relocation camps.
Even their children, old people, sick people. You know, like why this one person, right?
And
why this kid?
This might be why like Janeway doesn't really buy it.
Exactly. This is one of the things I think that makes her very Kirk-like, is that she's like, yeah, okay, you know, but like deep down there's like.
She does play into it a little bit. She's very like 3 moves ahead of you on the chessboard in this episode, which is great.
She's like peak performance. Like she's great in this.
I love it when she gets real like sarcastic and sassy later.
Oh,
it's fucking great.
Yeah.
But maybe you love it a little bit more than me with that reaction. But
Janeway.
But like the computer's like, the analysis is complete. Here's where to go.
Did you do the voice of the computer?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't Madge O'Barrett, it was me.
It was you? It sounded so good. Here's where to go.
Janeway takes Kashuk back to his quarters, and he's like, Janeway, you want to come in for some fucks? I can give you some stuff from the replicator.
Yeah,
And
she
she's
really
like-
wants to fuck.
She's like, I turned your replicator off because I didn't want you to give me fucks. Anyway,
I didn't want you to make
bye.
a gun. I didn't want you to make a gun out of grapes or whatever.
Really smart. Because
Yeah.
you can just replicate weapons.
Yeah, like a knife. Like, one knife, please, and then it just gives you a knife.
Yeah, I mean, it's been proven before that, like, replicators can be left on in, like, prisoners' rooms, and you can, like, specifically set them and lock them up so no weapons can be made.
Right.
But you could still make, like, a butter knife and kill somebody with it, or a fork or something.
You could ask for, like, a spoon and then, like, grind the spoon down or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you could make
ask
a
for
weapon if you
spoon
wanted
and,
to.
like, yeah. Or, like, give me a brick. One brick, please. There you go. Now you got a brick. You can hit people with it.
1 brick, please!
What temperature would you like the brick?
Fuck! They're using this, like, really clever, like, sort of like Red Dawn style technique, like silent running, to try and keep to be, so that they
Red
don't get...
October. Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, Hunt for Red October, yeah.
I know you meant.
So that they don't get detected by, like, Devore scanning devices that are, like, all over the fucking quadrant, apparently.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, B'Elanna fucks up somehow. I'm not sure. She's like, oh, there's something wrong in the warp core. I need to shut it down, but I can't shut it down fast enough.
Does the nebula fuck with it or something? Isn't there, like, I don't know. I don't remember. Like,
I don't remember, but B'Elanna fucks up.
Yeah, classic B'Elanna.
She's usually more put together by this point, but...
Unless she's, like, rage fighting or rage fucking somebody.
It's true. Like,
She's very angry.
Was she raised by, like, her Klingon parent or her
mom?
Or
her mom.
She was raised by her Klingon parent then.
But I think her mom goes missing or something, right?
I don't know, because I know, like,
that's the
Worf
story.
was raised by humans, and that's why he's able to keep his temper in check better than she is.
He had to, like, deal with humans, but she's kind of orphaned a little bit, which I think messes you up, right?
Yeah.
Like, it messes anybody
That's
up.
kind of like the false, like, everybody hails Voyagers. I've mentioned this before. Everybody hails Voyager as being this very enlightened show that's much more diverse.
Right.
Than the other shows, but it's like the falseness of that, where like the female Klingon is always enraged, even though the male Klingons are capable of holding it in check. Even like full-blooded Klingons, like
even the Klingons that are just murderers.
Yeah,
like
she's always like incapable of controlling her emotions, and she's a woman.
Yeah, that's a little bad.
And also, she's Hispanic, which that's also a stereotype for Hispanic people. It's like There's like problems in Voyager that I think people overlook a lot, but
yeah, it still was like the late 90s. It's kind of like how everyone's like in the late 90s. They were like, yeah, there's gay characters on TV, but then you watch it now and you're like, oh, I get it, they're gay.
Yeah,
right.
There's
the
always
joke
like
is that they're gay.
That's always like played for laughs, or if there is a serious gay character, they literally never even touch another person of the same sex.
Right, they're never around like other gay people.
And even if they are around other gay people, they only like hold hands or hug.
Right, they're not in like a sexual relationship like married people in sitcoms were, right?
Because that would be too scary to the homogenized audience at home.
Someone's grandma's gonna write a letter to CBS.
Can't believe you showed hot lesbians on my TV.
Hot lesbians.
But like they trip the scanning array, and so they just run away, which is a good plan.
Yeah, they're like, cheese it!
Cheese it! It's the cops!
And then like the Scooby-Doo like that sound effect happens. Little morning sunshine, and then they go through like a wormhole and come out the other side of the wormhole, but it's like the other side of the screen.
You wrote a much better episode just then, Josh.
Well, you know, I am awesome.
But Kashuk's like, you're gonna fight him? And Janeway's like, yeah, how can I defeat him? And he's like, well, here, you can do this and this. You can modulate your shields, and you can get your weapons like this.
Right.
And she's like, I'm ready. And Kashuk's like, no, the only way you're going to survive is if I take over the inspection crews. If I leave and pretend like I'm joining the inspection crew.
And they're like, I think she's like, well, haven't they noticed that you're like missing for fucking like 2 days or whatever?
Yeah, and
like,
he's like, no, like it doesn't matter if they find out that I'm a traitor as long as you get away.
Right, which is like another like not an explanation for how he's gonna pull this off, right? So it's another like red flag where you're like,
But then they like snog the fuck out of each other.
oh, they snog so hard, like the British say.
They just smash their gullets against each other for a little while.
Their like teeth are rubbing against each other. That's how hard they're kissing each other.
You can hear it. It's like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's a hard kiss.
They're gonna leave some damage.
Topanga's dad is getting fucking kissed up.
Can you believe it's been longer than part 1 of this podcast right now?
I can believe it. I'm looking at the time.
Shut up, Josh. We'll be right back with the thrilling conclusion of M-Class
Little morning
Podcast.
sunshine.
Right after these messages.
On an all-new Voyager. Did he come as a threat?
If I found you were harboring telepaths, I would have had to arrest you.
Or is he here as a friend?
I'm defecting, and I need your help.
It's a powerful episode that will keep you guessing until the end.
Voyager will be seized. I'm your only hope.
Why the sudden change of heart?
Do you trust me?
An all-new Voyager.
And we're back. Hopefully you bought that good and/or service.
Buy it.
Or
make the economy go.
Spend money. Consume.
It's Christmas soon. Buy things.
I hate Christmas.
I love Christmas, and I also hate Christmas.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it.
Christmas is incredible. And then after Christmas happens, and you're like, oh, this is horrible.
Christmas, the lead up to Christmas, having to go to, like, relatives' houses and stuff on Christmas Eves
sucks.
and shit, I hate all that. And, like, there's one thing that I absolutely hate about Christmas is, like, Christmas is about the spirit of giving. People say that, but they don't mean that. Christmas is about, I need to get a present from you.
Yeah, I feel like Christmas is, like, definitely there's that aspect to it, but I feel like there's, like, way more egregious things like that in our American society anyway. Like, weddings, I feel that way more about. Weddings and, like, wedding, like, parties. Like, wait, what's that? Wedding shower? Baby showers? That's the
baby
one.
showers. Like,
Baby showers
just
drive me crazy.
The thing about weddings and baby showers is you can just not go.
It's why I don't.
It's
and then
like
everyone gets mad at me.
Like
They
people
really get mad at me.
people might like think that's kind of an egregious sin or whatever, but like
They do, trust me.
and they'll bring it up like whenever the wedding gets brought up or whatever. But if you just don't do Christmas, people will never leave you alone about it ever. Like for the entire year up until the next Christmas, you'll catch shit about it.
Maybe not where I'm from. Maybe that's more where you're from. I feel like there's a lot of different like. There's a lot of selfish people where I'm from, and they don't really care about what you do.
I know a lot of, like, I have some friends who, like, every year, they're like, so, like, if you got me a present, I get you a present. And I'm always like, how about we just not get each other presents like we've done the whole time we've been friends?
That's ridiculous. Like, I try to get some people stuff that, like, they like. Like, I get alcohol a lot for people because it's like everyone likes alcohol, right? Like,
it's true.
Who doesn't want alcohol?
I'm poor, man. I barely afford rent. Leave me alone.
I know. That's how I am. I'm always like, okay, well, I have like this much amount of money to spend on like these people, right?
Yeah. And it's like, I have a list of people. Like, I always get a present for my mom. I always get a present for my 2 nieces and my nephew. And I always get a present for my wife.
Yeah, you should really only just be getting presents for your wife.
And like I do all that, and people still act like I'm some Scrooge because I don't get presents for everybody else.
Yeah, Christmas. I do agree that like it turns into like expectation town, which
Oh
I
yeah,
hate.
like
I
you
hate
shouldn't
that.
expect to get a present for people. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I give all you listeners a present every fucking week with an episode of M Class Podcast or email.
Yeah. Exactly. That's your fucking Christmas present.
Suck it down. Anyway, so the Devore inspectors board the ship.
Yeah, and Prax is in charge.
Yeah, but Kashuk is there
He's
as
back.
well.
Yeah, he redefected or whatever.
Yeah, he's in
Defected.
his leather daddy uniform.
He's in his Nazi daddy outfit.
And so he plays Tchaikovsky again.
Yeah.
And he's like you can't alter your course, you gotta leave Devore space. And he's like, Prax, why don't you go and fuck off? And Prax is like, okay.
Because he's a robot.
And he's like, so where's the wormhole? And she's like, oh, it's this way, it's right there.
Yeah,
and this is how we're gonna open it, and this is how we're gonna close it. And he's like, oh, that's great. Hey, Prax, come back and take hold of the fucking, like, capture those refugees and then shoot photon torpedoes into the wormhole. And Janeway's like, oh, j'accuse.
Yeah, it's very turncoaty, right?
Yeah.
He was playing her the whole time. Shocker.
And she's like, you gave a masterful performance. And he's like, on the contrary, I'm impressed with your stupidity that made this so easy. You dumb idiot. Stupid human idiot.
All his cards are on the table, right? It's great. Oh, it's
fucking
so good.
flat foreheaded bitch.
Jesus Christ.
And she's like, that's a little too far, I think.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Oh, okay.
And she's like, well, did the story with the little girl happen or not? And he's like, it was real, but after I wrestled with the ethics of my situation, I realized I'd done the right thing to protect my people.
I realized I am a Nazi.
It turns out that Nazis are me. And he takes her to the bridge, and all the bridge crew is gone. It's all taken over by Devore assholes.
Yeah.
And like they shoot the photon torpedo into what they think is the wormhole.
It looks like a wormhole. It's like a neutrino surge or whatever wormholes do.
But it's just residue left over.
Yeah.
And all they find inside of the transporter hold is like big fucking barrels, Donkey Kong barrels full of vegetables.
Donkey Kong barrels full of squashes from like fucking like Halloween fucking time.
And Janeway changes the music to a different symphony.
Oh, it's great. She's like, maybe this will help you realize. Oh my god.
She's so sarcastic and it's so fucking great. I love it.
So good. She's so good.
That's the thing about Janeway is if she was in a better show, she would be like one of the best captains for sure.
Well, like here's the thing about this episode that I love that makes it better than most Voyager episodes is she's not wholly concerned about her crew. She's not like motherly in this episode. She's a Starfleet captain. Like she's cunning, she's smart, and she's like decisive. You know what I mean? And like
true. She has like a little bit of Cisco. She's got a little bit of Cisco in this episode where she's like she's kind of cutthroat in how she does things.
Yeah, she's brutal. She's like brutal. And usually she's like cautious and like she's caring but strong. But in this episode all that doesn't matter cuz like she's like this seems like to be her game, right?
Yeah,
like she really
she's a Starfleet captain in this episode.
She's good at this.
And it's great.
Yeah.
She like sends the refugees ahead with the shuttlecraft, one of the endless shuttlecraft that Voyager has.
They just make them. They just fucking replicate them.
They have like replicator rations, but they're fucking making shuttlecraft.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever. We'll get another one.
But they're gone. The refugees are gone. So Prax is like, Voyager still deviated from their shuttle plan. You know they were carrying these refugees. You saw them, so we could still impound them.
Right, we'll arrest them.
And Kashuk's like, we failed, and neither of us need this on our permanent records.
It's very Sith Nazi, right? Like, we're not gonna tell anybody about this. Mustache twirl, mustache twirl.
Yeah, everybody leaves, and Kashuk's like, you know, he congratulates Janeway on her ruthlessness.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, I had to take precautions against you, but the offer was genuine. You could still have joined us.
Right.
And he smiles and he says, you know, you made a tempting offer.
Right.
And he leaves.
Like he's such a great villain in
he's
this
skeevy,
episode.
he's so slimy.
He's great. I love how the guy plays him. I love the character being just like so shitty. It's really good. And to counterpoint that,
shit!
I love Janeway's just like subtle cautiousness and her like amazing captaining, and it's like I wish that she was just always like this. I
feel
wish
like
every episode was her being awesome.
I feel like this was one of the episodes that, like, the bigwigs... Because there was, like, a pushback anytime they tried to write Janeway as, like, not being the motherly feelings captain.
Yeah, I don't... I mean, I get, like, why, because it was 1998 or whatever,
yeah.
But, like, I don't
This
know.
is probably one of those episodes that, like, the bigwigs were like, what? She wasn't using her vagina powers. I don't like that episode.
How are the audience gonna know that she has a vagina? How are they gonna know that?
If she's not being motherly to the crew, then she's probably being a bitch.
Now, does she have a penis here, or what?
Did she grow a penis between episodes and nobody told me?
Some, like, fucking executive on, like, UPN or whatever. Now, I gathered that she has a dick in this. Is that true?
She was sure acting pretty dickly in this episode. I'm telling you that right now.
I was unattracted by how manly she was. Can we go back to the captain who loves the hologram Irish man?
I do have a bone to pick with Voyager.
No.
Voyager as a whole, but specifically this episode. I don't know who edited this episode, but you fucking suck. Like,
wow.
The rest of the episode is mostly fine. There's some weird editing choices where it just kind of lingers on somebody who's not saying anything for a while.
I didn't really notice it, but
the one thing that stood out for me is during the teaser, you know how at the end of a teaser they usually play like a musical sting?
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
And then like it fades out as the music ends?
Yeah. Did you watch the teaser for this?
The teaser's just the first scene before the...
Oh, the cold open.
Yeah, the cold open.
Yeah.
It's always called a teaser on Memory Alpha.
Okay, sorry.
The cold open. The way the cold open always ends is it's usually like it goes ba-na-na,
yeah,
and then it fades out as the music fades out.
Right.
This literally played 2 notes, and then before the music starts, it fades out really fast.
So...
And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
That's probably a commercial problem. Like, they probably were up against it, because, like, you have to remember that, like, there was, like, rules, right? Like, it needed to be
Then edit your scene differently, bitch.
Yeah, so they have... I like how the show ends, though. It ends on that song, that whatever it is.
It's, fuck.
I don't remember who it is.
Hold on.
But it's very not Star Trek, like, it doesn't end on the Star Trek theme or like a Star Trek music-y theme. It ends on like a Tchaikovsky or whatever, and I thought that was very it was like movie.
Mahler's First Symphony.
Mahler, yeah, it ends on that, and it was very movie-like. It was very cinematic. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, the episode as a whole doesn't have terrible editing, but that beginning edit was like so harsh that it gave me whiplash.
That's probably the television problem. We're not used to seeing it anymore because we don't like watch TV like that anymore. It doesn't really exist.
Don't make
like
excuses for this.
I'm making excuses for this one.
I've watched a billion episodes of Star Trek and never seen that happen before. So.
Yeah, no, I know. I
Fuck you and this editor. Did you edit this episode, Josh?
I didn't want to tell you, but I edited this episode.
You suck dick.
Sorry. I think this is my favorite episode of Voyager. I know when I watched it the first time 2 weeks ago, when we were supposed to watch the other one, I was like, I don't remember this episode at all. And like I remembered like parts of it, but I was like, I don't remember it being this good.
It is a really good episode.
This is a really great episode. I can't think of a better Voyager episode off the top of my head. I can't think of it. I don't know.
I'd say this might be the best. I'm not sure.
It might be. What's like the good ones? There's a couple good ones.
I don't remember any good Voyager episodes.
There's like 5 good episodes.
So I was talking earlier that Michael Taylor was the writer for this, and he wrote like a lot. He wrote like 24 episodes of DS9 and Voyager, including In the Pale Moonlight.
Yeah,
but he said
like a whole series about that one.
He stated about Counterpoint that I like Counterpoint a lot because it's where the captain has a romance, and sort of in the end, it showed us how lonely her job is and gave us a foreshadowing of why she had to stay alone throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's great.
It shows that there's a real vulnerability to the entire ship and crew when she shows any vulnerability, which we see in TNG, DS9, Enterprise, like anytime, especially in TOS it comes up, because anytime the captain has a romance, even for a moment, it can be disastrous for the ship.
Yeah, it's like a risk that like you can't take sometimes as like a person in charge of like hundreds of people, right?
Yeah, thousands sometimes.
Sometimes thousands. It's crazy. I think probably the another good episode that we should also watch is Blink of an Eye, the one with the planet that exists in like a weird time stream. Like,
oh yeah, that's not bad.
That's a good one.
That's not a bad episode.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones. But this one is like, it's right up there, and it's not mentioned on any list that I'm looking at as being one of the best episodes, which is weird to me because this is a good episode.
That is strange. I guess because it's really kind of self-contained. Maybe. I don't know. Ronald D. Moore does have a quote.
Oh yeah.
About Voyager that gives us kind of a look into how the sausage is made there.
Yeah.
He says, quote, "To be blunt, Brian Fuller and Mike Taylor were treated very shabbily on Voyager, and it pissed me off. They took a lot of crap, and the only reason it was done was to keep the guys on top of the pyramid feeling good about themselves. It also had the effect of keeping the writing staff from working in concert as a group. The DS9 staff, by contrast, was very tight."
Yeah, I mean, you can see that, right? Every episode flows. There's like a very continuous theme in the whole series, and in Voyager, it's like
all over the fucking place.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's scatterbrained.
It's you look at a series, and sometimes it's like impossible to tell that different episodes were written by different people.
Right.
It all feels like it's being told with the same voice.
Right. Voyager,
it is painfully obvious. Each episode is being told by a different writer.
In a show that needs almost like designed so that like that would be almost impossible because of the overall arcing story of the show. Like they need to get home. Like it's real simple, right? Like it's a simple theme. How
the theme to sliders.
Right. How they deviate from that and go into weird directions that they go on this show is, I think, just super indicative of the writing staff, like, not doing a very good job.
Yeah, like, what do we do? I feel like that was said at the beginning of every writing meeting. Like, what do we do
next? Yeah. Where do we go?
Like, we've written ourselves into a corner with this going home thing. Like, we need to do Star Trek shit. They need to be looking at pulsars and shit.
Right. Which they could do that. Like, they can just do that, right? But, like, instead it's always like, but my crew, I'm the mother. And it's like, yes, we know. We get it.
There's just I will say, getting back to this episode specifically, the use of classical music in this episode is great.
It's perfect.
I'm a big fan of classical music. Like,
yeah.
I feel like classical music is probably the best type of music to bring forth emotion.
I agree with that. Sorry, I was yawning.
That's okay. I mean, besides, like, metal brings forth anger.
Yeah.
And, like, hip-hop brings forth feelings of swagger.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that, I feel... Yeah. I feel like classical music is, like, every other emotion you can have. It's the best at bringing forth.
It's almost like all of them. And that's the thing about, like, a lot of classical music, too, depending on who you're, like, listening to or whatever. Like... they're long, right? They're like lengthy. Some of them are like hours long if you want to listen to the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
So
that's why like you listen
acts.
to the Tchaikovsky bit in this episode is Symphony No. 4, which is the second movement of the symphony.
Right. And it's like you said, it's chock full of emotions, and like it's a really good way to in any sort of visual medium like movies or film to like evoke a certain emotion at a certain point. It's always funny too. Like it's amazing how funny classical music can be.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean there's obviously like a modern sort of connection to Looney Tunes and like classical cartoons that you can't get rid of.
Yes.
But even like without that, there's like a playfulness in the music that can be really funny.
Yeah, especially in like a modern, like, because like you said, like we have like rap and rock and like all these things. Like the contrast to that is like this very like prim, like classical music. It's just very goofy in a way.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, like, I'm the guy who says that he likes every type of music and actually means it.
Yeah, no, I do too. Except country, I hate country. I can't stand it.
It doesn't even bother me that much. Like. I grew up listening to old country. I'm not like I can't listen to new country.
No,
like,
new country is horseshit.
I like the new bluegrass movement that there's been since in the past like 15, 20 years. Like Trampled by Turtles and The Night Sweats and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I like literally every type of music, and my favorite type of music is hip hop. So I guess I'm not a real music fan.
That's crazy talk. Why would you say that?
There are people who think that like hip hop isn't true music.
You gotta not live where you live.
Well, I mean, it's not just where I live thing, unfortunately.
I don't ever get that here too much. In Philadelphia, I don't think that's not a thing. People don't feel that way. That's crazy.
It could be that that's just gone by the wayside, since like even pop music is very hip-hop influenced now.
Oh my god. I mean, country music rips hip-hop off at every turn.
Like, there are literal country music rappers now, which is nuts.
It sucks.
I mean, it's good in one way, because at least like there's a bit of culture. Like country music is like this institution that is like starkly white and conservative and southern.
They're just stealing the music again. It's exactly what happens.
They're actual black country rappers, though.
Yeah.
So at least there's like some sort of like cross-pollination happening when it was just this institution that was completely impenetrably white.
It's so shameless.
It does suck a dick, though.
It's shameless and it's awful. It's terrible. Ugh.
Ugh. A John Larroquette fun fact for you.
What? 2?
Janeway, when she lists the telepaths they have on board, only lists 4. Tuvok, Vorik, Jarot, and Lon Suitor.
Yeah. Vorik is the other Vulcan.
So there are only 2 Vulcans. However, several times throughout the series, she mentions that there are like multiple Vulcans aboard.
Well, you would think there would be, because it's a science ship, and Vulcans are big into science. So, that's just, I guess they were just like, they didn't want to have to like explain where all these characters went, right? Like,
I mean, they could have just said like a number of your crew were listed as telepaths, and she could have said the same thing, like they died in a shuttle accident. Although, like, they died in a experiment to try and learn about telepathy would have been a lot better.
I'm telling you, they should have said that she abandoned them.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100%
She should have been
right.
like, I left them. I knew what would happen. It would have made that relationship like better, I think. It would have made it more dark and like creepy, which I think would be neat to watch. I don't know.
That's true, but it also would have, like... It definitely would have had to have been addressed when Kashuk, like, turns fake traitor and they start becoming friends.
Right.
Like...
Well, he knows that they're there, then.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, though. Like, an interesting conversation. Like, what type... Like, that type of way you were willing to paint yourself.
Right,
as, like, ruthless.
Yeah, you lied about being that ruthless, and he could have been like, well, I know that your people are capable of these things, but you're not capable of that, right?
It would have been pretty clever.
It would have been cool. Almost like it would have made the show better. I don't know.
It's overall, this episode is one of the best episodes of Voyager, absolutely. Like, we don't know if it's the best or not, because I haven't watched, like, Voyager a ton in a long time.
Yeah, it's one of the best, I think. I mean, I've seen Voyager probably, like, 3 or 4 times total in a row.
I've only seen it through once, and I've seen it
rough.
halfway through the second time and had to give up.
It's a rough... Dude, there are episodes where you're like, oh my god... Like, you're like, stop.
Yeah, there are some episodes that literally, like, I took my glasses off and, like, massaged the bridge of my nose. Like, I can't believe this is what they're putting on this show.
Yeah, there's so... I mean, one good thing about Voyager, and I'm going to be very diplomatic here, one good thing about it is, toward the end, you know it's ending. And you're like, okay.
What a terrible compliment.
you're like, this will be done soon, and then we can go watch another thing.
I've always said that Voyager has an incredibly interesting premise that they do nothing with.
They fumble it, man.
They have the capability of very engaging characters when they want to, but they don't want to 90% of the time.
They don't want to go full on. They it's like, I don't, maybe it's the, like what Ronald D. Moore said. Maybe it was that reason. Maybe it was an executive problem. Maybe they were just like tired of like heavy shit. I don't know. Who knows, man?
I mean, there's so many things they could have. We always talk about Voyager and end up discussing what they could have and should have done.
Yeah. Which
sucks, especially if you like Voyager and you listen to this, but
right.
Why in the hell would you do that?
Why would you like Voyager? Also, why would you listen to this?
But, like, they have so many great things that they could have done, like, even if you don't want to focus on the whole, like, split crew thing. Like, if you don't want to deal with the Voyager crew being half Maquis and half Starfleet.
Which I'm kind of glad they don't do.
I mean, I feel like it could have been more interesting than nothing, which is what they did.
Yeah, they don't handle it at all well, because they literally, again, they just are like, nothing happens.
Yeah. They could have, like, really, and a few episodes touch on this, like, very little, like, dipping a little baby toe in the water.
Yeah.
Of discussing the mental fatigue and that you would have to go through, knowing that it's going to be 75 years before you get home.
Yeah, you're not making it back.
No.
Like, you're not making it back.
Like,
probably,
humans live to be, like, 150 at this point.
Right. But, so, like, what, are you going to be the captain when you're 100 years old? Right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I mean, like,
probably not.
You're under attack all the time and everything. There could have been... There's no fucking, like, counselor on board this ship.
I know.
And it's
crazy.
Somebody should have taken up the role of counselor.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I don't know who you could have had do that. You'd have to, like, make a character be that way. I think you could maybe what's her name's mom? Naomi Wildman.
Yeah, her mom.
Maybe
probably
her mom could have. She's in it for a while.
I guess the doctor is the ship's counselor.
I guess him and Neelix, right?
Oh,
Neelix is sort of the
God.
morale officer. He's like the guy who like is the... But he's like so annoying that I would just want to punch him every day, and I wouldn't go eat in the cafeteria. I would be like...
It would be like going to see Bozo the Clown about your fucking crippling depression.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't...
Like, you know, I'm just thinking, Neelix, I'm just thinking that, like, you know, I'm never going to see my wife and kids again. Like, I'm just gonna die out here alone, and there's nothing I can do about it. Hank! You know, it just doesn't work. Let me make you a balloon animal.
Oh, Voyager. What What are we gonna do?
Here's a unrelated fun fact for you. A John Larroquette fun fact that has nothing to do with the episode. Bones is the ship's counselor in the original series.
Yeah, he's like a psychologist, right?
Yeah, he's got a degree in psychology as well.
Well, this is at the time when like people would not hire you to work at their company if they found out you went to a shrink. They call them shrinks.
That's
right?
true, and it's only retroactively he's been given the title of ship's counselor.
Right. It's not brought up in the show.
If we ever do Star Trek etc. for Star Trek Continues.
Yeah.
One of the big plot points of the Continue series is that ship's counselor joins for the first time in Starfleet history.
Yeah. That's cool.
And she plays like a really big role in the episodes.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's cool that they like
sweet.
took the time to do something genuinely different with that show instead of just being like, here's more of the same stuff.
Right.
Remember this?
Right. Remember these. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. This episode's great. Every other episode we're gonna watch is probably gonna be bad.
Really, like you're throwing a dart into a garbage dump and hoping it lands on something not disgusting.
Like maybe you can eat like some of the thing it lands on, right? Like, oh, there's a apple that nobody ate, right?
Yeah,
it's fine.
You're hoping to find non-contaminated dinner in a junkyard.
Maybe some Twinkies or something. I don't know.
Voyager. I feel like most of my malice towards Voyager is how much wasted potential it had.
I mean, it's definitely a waste. Like at times it's brilliant, at times it's entertaining, at times it's fun, and then other times it's like what?
I would still rather watch Voyager than Discovery. And I would rather watch Voyager than any of the JJ movies.
Absolutely. Like, without a doubt, yes.
Because, I mean, even watching the episodes of Voyager we've had to before where we kind of, like, ripped into it, I still enjoyed watching it a hell of a lot more than any of that other stuff because it's still Star Trek.
It's still Star Trek, right. It's still, like, the
it's
basic
still, like,
Star
the
Trek.
real Star Trek.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind when you're listening to us shit on anything related to Voyager. Not this episode, since it's actually a really good episode.
Yeah, but Voyager is I mean, there's lots of Star Trek in it. And, like, I don't know, the big... Like, I think I say, whenever we talk about Voyager, the big selling point was, like, eventually we're going to get to the Borg, right? And people were, like, horny as fuck for the Borg. So much so that they made a hot-ass blonde lady be a Borg.
Yeah, pretty much. People were horny for the Borg, like, metaphorically.
They were
then
metaphorically,
literally.
yeah. Then literally horny for the Borg, yeah.
The thing about that is, like, you get, like, the barest of vaguest hints that the Borg are going to be involved for, like, 4 fucking seasons.
Well,
and then somebody's like,
out.
the Borg!
They do... what Star Trek does poorly as a franchise in the later years of Star Trek, one of the reasons that it might have ended the way it did is that they were so too patient with like the big stories that they wanted to get to. Voyager did it with the Borg, and Enterprise did it with the Romulans. Like, so much so that Enterprise didn't even get a chance to do it. Really, they got to like the very beginning, and then it ended. And
that's the unfortunate truth. That, like, maybe even Josh and I are too, like, timid to really touch on. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we've mentioned it before, but, like, not in depth or anything. But maybe people are just too stupid for Star Trek now.
It's possible.
Like, because they took their time with reveals in TNG and Deep Space Nine, and people loved it. But, like, the Voyager took their time, and people hated it. And the Enterprise took their time, and people hated it.
Television was changing. That had a lot to do with it too.
And that's the thing is, like, you watch a Netflix series and, like, shit has to be happening in every episode that's, like, there's no build-up half the time. It's just, ruined by the end of the episode.
There's a lot of that. I mean, Netflix does, like, a good job in a lot of ways, but Netflix also does a bad job, in my opinion, with shows like Daredevil and shit like that, where, like, sometimes I'm like, why the fuck are we watching this happening? like get
I feel that way, like, my wife hates Karen Page.
From Daredevil?
From Daredevil. She, like, hates her guts.
Yeah, she's not great.
And even I don't really have that much against her, I guess. I don't really like her either.
From True Blood. She's great as Jessica.
I don't really like Karen Page either, to be honest. She's really insufferable, and she's a huge hypocrite. Because she does the same things Daredevil does, but then she shits on him for it.
Yeah, she's mad at Daredevil for being Daredevil, but she's like a reporter who like does whatever she wants, and it's like, what's the difference?
She's like lecturing Daredevil on like, you shouldn't like be so violent,
right? And
you shouldn't think about murdering the Kingpin, even though I have murdered at least 2 people, and my best friend is the Punisher.
She murders like somebody in like the first season.
I'm like, are you fucking shitting me right now?
Yeah,
but anyway, like, my wife hates her, but like anytime she's on screen and it's like just following her life, I'm like, boring.
Yeah, there's a lot of like extraneous filler, I feel like, in those shows.
Yeah, at least in like some of them it makes sense, right? Like, and some of them even if it doesn't make sense, it's entertaining. Like, I really like all the stuff about Misty Knight in Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yeah. I love anything Jessica Jones does. Like, I don't care. They can do whatever they want.
Even Jessica's friend, who's like
Blondie.
Yeah, Patsy Walker.
Patsy, yeah.
Like, her stuff is alright. Like, I don't have anything against that, but like, you can have side characters do things in your show without it being insufferable.
Yeah, yeah.
This became a Netflix review for a minute.
About Netflix. I have a cat sitting on me. No! Get down.
Josh, it's the end of the show. Let's say end of the show.
Okay, it's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us on this episode of M Class Podcast.
You can follow us on Twitter at M Class Podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, we do have an Instagram now. It's M Class Podcast. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do with it, but
we're just gonna put pictures of us watching Star Trek.
I'm probably actually gonna do that, to be honest.
Yeah, like tonight I'm watching episode whatever.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be an episode about it soon. Ooh.
Maybe.
You can also send us an email to be in our other program, M-Class Email. You can send that over to mclassemail@gmail.com, all singular.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Send us all your emails. You can send us questions. It doesn't even have to be about Star Trek. You can send us pitch it or ditch it's. Yeah. Or you can make up a fan fiction character and pretend to be them.
Do
whatever you want.
Do whatever. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
We love it.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back in 1 week with more M-Class goodness.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm mentally ill.